I believe in the X-Men.
Greetings and salutations. I'm here with my review of X-Men 97 Season 2, or at least the first 4 episodes of Season 2, because that's what they've given us to watch ahead of time. I wish I had the whole season, both because I'd like to see it, but also because it would be better for the full review to let you know what I thought of the whole season. But let's go with the first 4 episodes and to say that they're really great. I mean, this show, when it premiered a couple years ago, got so much love, rightfully so. It really delivered what everyone wanted from a continuation of the old 90s X-Men animated series, but sort of amped up kind of the ideal version of X-Men from the 90s as far as like what we remembered looking back and putting it in the present, making it in the present, I should say, not setting it in the present, but delivering all of the both action and soap opera elements, but really sort of focusing in, honing in on the characters, and in some cases making the characters better than they'd ever been. I think season 2 continues to do that and continues to show so much love and affection for X-Men and their world. This season, of course, has to deal with the cliffhangers from season 1, which found the team sent through time, some of them to ancient Egypt, some of them to the far future, but all involving apocalypse. In the present, which is 1997, we've got the characters that were left behind, and that's, Forge and Bishop, who are actively trying to save the X-Men. Then other characters out there like Jubilee and Sunspot, and them trying to figure out what is their next step in the wake of everything that went down in the first season. I feel like X-Men 97 keeps giving fan service a good name, which is to say it is blatantly saying, hey, want to see this? Want to see this cool thing from the comics? Want to see this reference? But doing it in its own way with enough style and enough wit, and just enough of a spin on it that you just don't feel like it's only references without meaning. It's like it's delivering what you want to see. And I'm a longtime X-Men fan, so all these things they're doing, all these storylines they're pulling from, it's really exciting that they do that. But then I still think it's delivering its own story that is very strong on its own terms, and remembering the version of these characters that we met in the animated series in the 90s, that they do have particular feel to them, particular vibe to them, so that it's not just plucking one to one from the comics. It's, doing something different with it. So when you have here, say, Cyclops and Jean in the future raising the young version of Nathan Summers, who will become Cable, voiced here by Michael Johnston from Obsession, it doesn't feel like they're just beholden to everything that happened on the page of the miniseries that's based on. They can do their own thing with it. They can sort of give their own interpretation of it. And also, you don't have to have read the comic. I mean, of course, that's always important. I know as someone who's read X-Men comics since the 80s, I'm going to geek out on everything I'm recognizing, but I also know that this show cannot live and breathe by only that. It needs to appeal to fans who don't know all that source material. That said, I'm going to mention some things for the source material that I think are awesome here. We get more of X Factor here, who were introduced back in the original 90s series, but we also get the X-Men 97 version of X-Force. Look, I get it. X Factor, X Force, X Men, it's a lot. And it was a lot in the comics where the popularity of X Men led to all these spin-offs. But I think that the X Men 97 version of all this remembers, like the comics did, that these teams have to have a distinct approach, that they can't feel like carbon copies. They have to feel very different in their philosophies. And I think that really stands out here as far as how we see them operate and what lines some of them are willing to cross that others aren't. This show continues to have an edge beyond even what the 90s show did. And you saw that in the first season. You saw the stakes in the first season. Everyone remembers that episode with Gambit. It really did stand out. But I think that continues here. There is an element that, bad things can happen. And sometimes the heroes on the show might do bad things. And, that yes, people's lives are on the line. And that doesn't mean they're going to, kill a major character every episode. But it means that you can feel the weight of what's happening and that there can be profound loss. And profound emotion. And there is at least one scene in these four episodes I've seen that definitely hit hard on the emotional level. There continues to be a lot of great action sequences here that really get to deliver on the power sets of the different characters. Storm, in particular, the first season showed her off really well. They remember again the grandeur here that she, just gets to go big in a way maybe we've never really seen in other adaptations of the character. And that really makes me, and I know other Storm fans, want to see Storm in a movie finally get to do what she's doing here. Everything they're doing here, because we know that Kevin Feige is producing this, that this is all Marvel Studios behind it, and we're going to get live action versions of X-Men from them. It's very exciting because you're like, well, they're already doing this. They know that this is what fans want. So let's see what the future holds as we go forward. There's another great action sequence here featuring Jubilee that is set to a 90s song from a female fronted band. I won't say exactly what song it is. I'll just say that I, Eric Goldman, happen to be a massive fan of this song. I've always loved it, and so I felt like they personally chose it for me. And though they didn't, I'll still thank whoever chose that song. I also continue to really appreciate how the show does not play favorites. We saw this a lot in season one because they did not prominently feature Wolverine in a way that you are very used to X-Men media doing, really for decades now. They let the whole team shine, they let everyone shine, and that continues here, both with the pre-existing characters and then also characters that we might have met a little bit. I mean, I'm going back to the actual 90s show, but some of these characters barely popped up in the first season, but you've got the likes of Archangel and Psylocke and Emma Frost and Polaris, and they get to come in here and really all get their moment to shine. I'll get their moment to show why they are cool, memorable characters in their own right. The trailers have teased that Ramu Tut is involved in the ancient Egypt stuff, and I'll just say that the show keeps doing a good job of incorporating the larger Marvel universe without it being imbalanced. So Ramu Tut's not the only thing that's part of larger Marvel that we get to see here come into the story, but it never feels like it's becoming, just you know, guest star after guest star, or it's becoming like it's never forgetting that it's an X-Men story. So if something is brought in that's from outside, it feels like it is meant to just benefit the X-Men story. How will they react to it? How will they deal with this situation slash character slash concept? And I think that's a really great approach to it all. If I'm comparing the first four episodes of season two to the first four episodes of season one, I don't think these are quite as thrilling, but maybe they can't be because they can't deliver the rush of X-Men, the animated series, is back and it's being done so well. And also, it doesn't have that thing of the unified team all working together because its story is that they're all split up. So you can't quite get that high just yet. I think it's going to probably come eventually. Also, personally speaking, I think Apocalypse is a decent villain, but he's not one of my favorite X-Men villains. And, his whole survival of the fittest deal, it's okay. It's just never been something that personally thrills me. I'm never like super hyped that it's a new Apocalypse story. That doesn't mean there hasn't been really good Apocalypse stories. He's just not, one of my favorite villains. So mileage will vary. And if you love Apocalypse, there's nothing not to love here. I think the show does everything they can to dimensionalize Apocalypse, especially the stuff set in ancient Egypt, to sort of, explain who he is, why he has the philosophies he does. He still remains, a second tier villain as far as just ones that really I think are interesting and you can really dig into. So that makes this not quite as exciting for me as season one was overall, but it's just also still so great. It's still more of this world that is just a favorite world of mine, the X-Men in general, but also the 90s animated series, done with just a lot of care, a lot of attention. Have to mention, of course, on the writing side that it's a interesting season because Beau DeMayo, the head writer, was fired from this show and fired before season one premiered. And there's been so much controversy and back and forth, and he has been very vocal, certainly, with his point of view on it all. And we've also heard the rumblings about the reasons for his firing and what might have been going on there. But these episodes, he worked on them. His name is in the credits. He is an executive producer. He's a writer on a bunch of these episodes. So you can't say, well, what will the show be like without him yet? I mean, you can still ask that question, but you're not going to get an answer yet watching these episodes because they're still ones made under his guidance. So it is still, continuing forward from what he was doing because he's still the guy doing it in season two. It's not until season three, I think, we're really going to get an answer to the question as they can keep going forward without him. But yeah, I think this show continues to be a treasure trove for X-Men fans. And I think it means if you're an X-Men fan because of the animated series from the 90s, if you're a more recent fan, maybe from the live action, movies of the past 25 years, or discovered comics recently, or you're like me and you've been reading the comics forever, it's just kind of got something for everyone. And then there's this extra level of, yes, do I love that they have Scott and Jean are wearing costumes in the future, clearly based on their X Factor team uniforms in the comics from the 80s. I do. Do I love that Rogue's ancient Egypt outfit is clearly an homage to the costume she wore in X-Men comics in the mid 80s? I do. But you don't have to know that. That is an extra layer on top of a layer for what is just giving you a lot of beloved characters done with love. And again, embracing that soap opera element, it really is crucial and key. And I know they've been talking about it when they do the live action movies going forward, that they want to retain that. And that's very smart because it is the DNA. DNA is very important in X-Men. It is infused into the DNA of the characters in general, I think, but especially this animated series universe version. And so, yeah, I'm very excited to see the rest of this season. I'll probably do a follow-up review after the finale comes out to sort of give my thoughts on how it all wrapped up. But those are my thoughts on X-Men 97 Season 2, which premieres with the first three episodes on July 1st. All right, guys, if you can like and subscribe, that would be wonderful or excellent. Thanks a lot. Take care.